two colossal nations, each with a rich history and a powerful presence on the global stage. A century of intertwined destinies, marked by moments of both cooperation and conflict. From the battlefields of World War I, where alliances were forged and tested, to the icy grip of the Cold War, a period defined by nuclear brinkmanship and ideological rivalry, Russia and America have played out a dramatic saga on the world stage. Their actions have reverberated across continents, influencing global politics and shaping the course of history. Their relationship, a complex tapestry of alliances and animosity, has seen periods of intense rivalry and moments of unexpected cooperation. This intricate dance has shaped the geopolitical landscape, influencing the policies and strategies of nations around the world. It has determined the fate of nations, from the collapse of the Soviet Union to America's involvement in global conflicts, and Russia's influence in Eastern Europe. Their rivalry has held the world in the balance, with moments like the Cuban Missile Crisis bringing the world to the brink of nuclear war. The story of Russia and America is one of ambition and ideology, where the pursuit of power and influence has driven both nations to great heights and deep lows. It is a tale of conflict and cooperation, where moments of intense rivalry have been punctuated by instances of collaboration, such as joint space missions and arms control treaties. It is a reminder of the enduring power of history, where the actions of the past continue to influence the present and shape the future. And as we look to the future, the relationship between Russia and America remains as unpredictable as ever, a testament to the ever-changing dynamics of global politics. As the 20th century dawned, the world plunged into the chaos of World War I. Russia, a vast empire ruled by the Tsars, found itself allied with Britain and France. Across the Atlantic, a young and ambitious America watched the conflict unfold. Though their paths diverged in the fires of that first global conflict, the seeds of rivalry were sown. Russia, consumed by revolution, would chart a new course, embracing the ideology of communism. America, emerging as a global power, would grapple with this new ideology. The stage was set for a clash of titans. The Russian Revolution of 1917 sent shockwaves across the world. The Tsar was overthrown, and the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, seized power. A new era had begun, one marked by communist ideology and a deep mistrust of the capitalist West. Though both nations fought against a common enemy in World War II, the ideological divide remained. The alliance, a marriage of convenience born of necessity, could not mask the fundamental differences that separated them. The seeds of Cold War rivalry were already taking root. World War II ended with the defeat of Nazi Germany, but the world found no lasting peace. Instead, a new conflict emerged from the ashes: the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union, now superpowers with opposing ideologies, became locked in a global struggle for dominance. It was a war fought not on traditional battlefields, but in the realms of espionage, propaganda, and technological competition. From the skies above to the depths of space, the two superpowers engaged in a high-stakes game of chess, each seeking to outmaneuver the other. Section 5. The Bear and the Eagle, a Cold War stalemate. The Cold War was a time of constant tension. The threat of nuclear annihilation loomed large, casting a long shadow over the world. Proxy wars erupted in Korea, Vietnam, and Afghanistan, each conflict a dangerous flashpoint in the larger struggle between East and West. Through it all, the world watched and waited, holding its breath. Would the simmering tensions boil over into a full-blown nuclear conflict? Or could the two superpowers find a way to coexist peacefully? Section 6. At the Brink. The Cuban Missile Crisis. The year 1962 brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. It was a time of intense fear and uncertainty, as the two superpowers of the world, the United States and the Soviet Union, stood on the edge of a potentially catastrophic conflict. The stakes were incredibly high, and the entire world watched with bated breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution to the escalating tensions. The Cuban Missile Crisis, a tense 13-day standoff, saw the United States and the Soviet Union locked in a battle of wills. This confrontation was not just a test of military might, but also a test of diplomatic skill and resolve. The world had never seen such a direct and dangerous confrontation between these two nuclear-armed giants. The crisis began when American reconnaissance planes discovered Soviet missile installations in Cuba, capable of launching nuclear weapons at the United States. Soviet missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from American shores, posed an unacceptable threat. The presence of these missiles was a bold move by the Soviet Union, aimed at countering the American missiles that had been placed in Turkey. The proximity of these weapons to the United States meant that any miscalculation or misunderstanding could lead to a nuclear exchange, with devastating consequences for both nations and the world at large. The world held its breath as President John F. Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev navigated this perilous moment. Kennedy addressed the nation, informing the American people of the grave danger they faced and the steps being taken to address it. Behind the scenes, intense negotiations were underway, with both leaders seeking a way to de-escalate the situation without losing face or appearing weak. The stakes were incredibly high and the margin for error was razor thin. Through diplomacy and restraint, disaster was averted. The resolution of the Cuban Missile Crisis required both sides to make significant concessions. The United States agreed to remove its missiles from Turkey while the Soviet Union agreed to dismantle its missile installations in Cuba. This delicate balance of power and the willingness of both leaders to engage in dialogue ultimately prevented a nuclear catastrophe. The crisis highlighted the importance of communication and the need for effective channels of diplomacy in times of international tension. The crisis served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of nuclear war. It underscored the need for continued vigilance and the importance of maintaining open lines of communication between nations. The Cuban Missile Crisis remains one of the most significant events of the Cold War, a moment when the world came perilously close to the brink of destruction, only to be pulled back by the efforts of courageous leaders and the power of diplomacy. Section 7, a thaw, then a chill. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed a period of détente, a thawing of relations between the superpowers. Arms control agreements were signed and cultural exchanges flourished. But the underlying tensions remained. With the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the subsequent collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the Cold War finally came to an end. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the future of Russia-America relations remained uncertain. Section 8. The shadow of conflict returns. The post-Cold War era brought new challenges and opportunities. Yet, old suspicions lingered, and the hope for a lasting partnership proved elusive. The expansion of NATO, economic sanctions, and political interference strained relations. In 2014, Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine, a move that drew condemnation from the West and reignited tensions. The conflict in eastern Ukraine further exacerbated the situation, casting a long shadow over the relationship. Section 9. A fragile future. Today, Russia and America find themselves at a crossroads. The geopolitical landscape is more intricate than ever, with both nations grappling with internal and external pressures that shape their policies and actions on the global stage. The relationship remains complex, fraught with mistrust and the lingering echoes of past conflicts. From the Cold War era to the present day, the dynamics between these two superpowers have been marked by a series of highs and lows, each phase leaving an indelible mark on international relations. The war in Ukraine stands as a stark reminder of the challenges ahead. This conflict has not only strained Russia's relations with the West, but has also highlighted the broader implications for global security and stability. The international community watches closely, aware that the outcomes here could set precedents for future conflicts. The lessons of history, etched in the annals of the 20th century, offer both caution and a glimmer of hope. The world has witnessed the devastating impacts of war and the profound benefits of peace. From the devastation of World War II to the tense standoffs of the Cold War, history teaches us that while conflict can be catastrophic, diplomacy and dialogue can pave the way for reconciliation and progress. Dialogue, diplomacy, and a willingness to find common ground are essential if these two nations are to navigate the challenges of the 21st century. In an era where global issues such as climate change, cybersecurity, and economic instability require collective action, the ability of Russia and America to collaborate could significantly influence the future of international relations. The future hangs in the balance, a fragile tapestry woven from the threads of history. The decisions made today by leaders in Moscow and Washington will reverberate through time, shaping the world for generations to come. It is a delicate dance of power, diplomacy, and mutual understanding, where every step taken can either strengthen the fabric of global peace or unravel it further.